many cases the standards are not followed. There may be some regulation and standards, but they are not really followed. Some are not used correctly. A couple of years ago, had a big discussion in the US that the offices were too cold, especially women were freezing. And it turned out that the settings of the thermostat was completely wrong. They analyzed 100 buildings. The temperature setting for summer was lower than the temperature settings for winter, against the standards. So many who operate the buildings, they don't really look at the standards, how they are used. I think it's a big step, but it's not big enough. Because what they decided was to ask each country to set up some requirements for the indoor environment. But they didn't tell them how to do it. So it's very voluntary how they want to do it. In a guideline to the countries for how to implement the indoor environmental criteria, they are referring to a standard, EN 16798, Part 1 and 2, which we are now under revision. And I would have liked that this would have been definitely a part of the EPBD. And the standard itself is so flexible, it can take into account national difference and so on. But now I'm afraid we are getting many different criteria in European countries, and this is not really needed. You could just have referred to the standard. But just that they recommend this standard, I think is helpful. People are different. And when we set up requirements for a space, we normally set it up for an average person. So to look more efficiently and get better comfort, we have to look more on the individual. There is activities to make like desktop systems, individual systems, so you can take into account these differences between people. When you relate energy use to indoor environment, for the energy use, we normally can go on a yearly basis with one parameters. Carbon emission, how much carbon emission per square meter building per year. For indoor environment, we have many factors. We have acoustic, we have lighting, we have temperature, thermal comfort, and air quality. And we don't really have a value for that on a yearly basis. In the revision of the standards, we are looking for establishing that, especially for the thermal comfort, a yearly value. You can then compare with the energy. But we should not forget that the cost of people to work in a workspace, in an office, is 100 times more expensive than energy. So if you just have 1% loss in productivity, that's a whole energy budget. So don't sacrifice the indoor environment.